You ever have that feeling? A truth inside you that's so powerful it just has to come out? Well, today we're diving into a symbol for that exact feeling, one that echoes through pretty much every culture on Earth, the lion's roar. Let's get into it.
I mean, just think about that image for a second. It's so primal. It captures a sound so absolute, so full of authority, that everything else just stops dead in its tracks to listen. And this, right here, isn't just about some animal in the jungle. It's a huge metaphor for the power of an ultimate, undeniable truth. And honestly, it's the key to everything we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so to really get to the heart of what this roar is all about, we've got to start with a pretty mind-bending idea, that reality itself doesn't begin with light, but with vibration, with sound.
You know, it's amazing how many different wisdom traditions land on this very same idea. You've got the Bible saying, "In the beginning was the Word," and you see similar concepts all over Buddhist philosophy. The basic thought is this: before anything becomes solid, before you can see it, there's a hum, a vibration, a resonance. So sound is like the first ripple of creation, the way existence sort of unfolds out of total silence.
And that's where our core concept really clicks into place, the lion's roar. It's the perfect symbol for that primal sound of truth we've been talking about. Think of it as the fearless announcement of what's real. A sound so pure, so powerful, that it just cuts right through all the noise, all the confusion, and silences every other argument, period.
So that brings up a really cool question. How does a big, universal metaphor like this become something you can actually do, something personal? Well, one of the most fascinating journeys this whole idea took was right inside the Buddhist tradition. So in Buddhism, they have a name for it, siṃhanāda. That's the Sanskrit. And at first, this was all about describing the Buddhist teachings. His words were seen as this roar, a roar so powerful and so true that it basically silenced all the other competing philosophies of his day, just totally shut him down.
But here's the thing. The idea didn't just stop there. It actually evolved in this really fascinating way. First, in the early texts, the Buddhist teaching was compared to a roar that terrified all the other beasts, the other doctrines. Then later, it became this roar that bodhisattvas would make, almost like a vow, a fierce expression of their own wisdom. And then, great thinkers like Nagarjuna and Ji took it even further. For them, the roar became the very wheel of the Dharma itself, the tool you could use to tell what's true from what's false. And this all leads up to the Japanese reformer Nichiren. He made this really radical move. He said the lion's roar wasn't just a metaphor anymore. He said it was a specific sound, a chant, that anyone, and I mean anyone, could create for themselves.
Now, as amazing as that whole evolution in Buddhism is, you might be thinking, is it just them? Nope, not even close. This symbol, this idea of truth in a lion's roar, it echoes all over the entire planet.
So yeah, you gotta ask, right? Is this just a Buddhist thing? Did it only come from India? And the answer is a huge, resounding no. It seems like the lion's roar is this deep, fundamental symbol for all of us, for humanity.
I mean, seriously, it shows up everywhere. You look at Judaism and Christianity, the roar is sometimes described as the very voice of God. And Christ is famously called the Lion of Judah. Switch over to Hinduism, and you've got the god Vishnu incarnating as Narasimha, this incredible man-lion, whose roar is what defeats evil. Then you have Islam, where the prophet's cousin, Ali, is known as the Lion of God, Asadullah. And in Sikhism, male initiates take the name Singh, which literally means lion, to symbolize their courage.
And it's not just the big world religions. This intuition, this feeling, it goes way deeper into indigenous cultures all over the world. Like in Tibet, they had the mythical snow lion, and its roar is said to embody truth, so powerful it can make dragons fall from the sky. Go to the Andes, and the ancient Inca believed the feline god's roar was thunder and rain, the very sound that brought order to the universe. You see it again and again, from South Asian folktales to Native American traditions, where the mountain lion is this powerful protector spirit. It's like it's just baked into the human psyche, you know? Okay, so if this symbol is so universal, what's the big deal about the Buddhist version we talked about? What makes it so unique? Well, it all boils down to one absolutely crucial shift, the jump from being just a metaphor to being an actual practice. See, in most traditions, the roar is something outside of you. It's the voice of a god or a prophet. It's something you listen for. It's a sound that inspires awe, maybe even a little fear. But the path Buddhism took, and this is the game changer, internalizes the whole thing. The roar becomes something you voice from within. It stops being about listening for some divine authority out there and starts being about awakening the truth that's already inside you. It becomes a practice, a vibration you create yourself to literally change your own reality.
And that right there, that's the whole shift. It transforms the lion's roar from a cool metaphor you hear about into a real method you can practice. It's about you embodying that sound.
So all of this big, historical, cross-cultural idea, how do we bring it back home? What does it actually mean for you on a personal level?
Well, this quote from Nichiren really just lays it all out there. He says, "Namu Myōhō Renge Kyō is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle?" What he's saying is the roar that you generate from inside yourself. It isn't some abstract philosophical idea. It's a real, life-affirming force. It's a sound of vibration so powerful that it can blast through any obstacle you're facing. Sickness, doubt, you name it. It's a tool for pure empowerment.
So, when we boil it all down, what's the big takeaway here? First, we've seen that the lion's roar is this incredible, universal symbol for ultimate truth. We found it pretty much everywhere, woven into the fabric of almost every major religion and indigenous culture. But, and this is the key difference, we saw how Buddhism did something really unique. It evolved the idea from just a metaphor you listen to into a practice you actually do. So the final takeaway is simple, but it's powerful. The roar isn't something you wait to hear from the outside, it's something you voice from within. And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. If this power, this ability to proclaim truth with a capital T, isn't just reserved for gods or ancient prophets, if it's a potential that lies dormant inside every single one of us, well then there's really only one question left to ask yourself, isn't there? What truth inside of you is just waiting for its moment? What's waiting for your roar?